Okay. Can you
Okay,
hear me
can
clearly?
we welcome? Yes, we can. We can hear you.
Okay. So thank you
Well,
very much. I don't know what has happened before now, so I'm a bit confused. And it would have been beautiful if I know like what has happened already, and then I can, get in. So what has happened in my
okay, Miracle.
absence?
We actually just started, Dr.
Okay. Yeah.
So,
Okay.
the
Nice.
model will start now.
Welcome.
Okay. Okay. So I would wait for the moderator, right?
Yeah. Sorry for the time. There was a
Oh,
little misunderstanding.
okay. So Sure. I'll wait till then when she hands over to me then.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the third webinar for the Fight It initiative. We're so excited to have everybody here present. If you are in this meeting, I want to tell you thank you for coming. Welcome. So basically we are going to be doing something real quick now. If you are on this call, I can see there are like 5 people on the call. Please just drop your name and where you're attending the meeting from in the chat section. Welcome. I can see Christopher Ayan. Please drop your name in the chat and where you are connecting with us from. So in that format, I just dropped my name and where I'm connecting from Lagos, Nigeria. So welcome everyone. Please, I would like to encourage us all to kindly wait till the end of this meeting because there's going to be a feedback form that will be requested of us to fill at the end of the meeting. So please, I would appreciate that. Oh, I can see Chimdi from Enugu. Joseph from Enugu, welcome Joseph. I can see so welcome. As I was saying earlier that at the end of the meeting there's going to be a feedback form that would be requested to fill. So please kindly wait till the end of the meeting. It's going to be a really great time, especially because of our guest. She's a really amazing person. Wow, I can see Christopher from Port Harcourt. Wow. Welcome, Christopher. It's so good to have you here with us. So very quickly, I'm going to be introducing our guest speaker for today. Please, our guest speaker for today is Peace Chimdindu Ugwuanyi. I'm really sorry. Please permit me. Did I pronounce it well? Peace Chimdindu Ugwuanyi is a young medical doctor, and coincidentally, she's my namesake as well. Her passion to rescue and prevent children from sexual abuse is very captivating. She's the founder of Speak Out Africa, through which she has led social media campaigns that has helped enlighten and help victims of sexual abuse. These campaigns have also helped parents to know how to protect their children. Peace is a very vibrant lady that loves to speak and socialize with people. She equally builds her imagination through books and music. In the future, she wants to further as a clinical psychologist to help children and young people in Africa grow wholesomely. Join me as I welcome our host today. So, Peace, you're welcome. Over to you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Peace Ogunlusi, right?
Yeah, correct.
Good. Okay. So I'll if I'm correct, then my name is Chimdindu Peace Ugwuanyi. Yeah. No Ugwuanyi, but it's okay. So it's so nice to be here. I'm very, very excited. And I was telling Mirabel yesterday that I look forward to today's meeting so much. You can hear me clearly, right?
Yes,
Everyone
we can.
can hear me clearly. Okay,
Yeah.
good. Let me see if my phone is charging as well. Good. So I'm very, very excited about today's meeting because it's something I'm very, very, very passionate about. And it will be very, very beautiful to share some of the lessons I've learned so far working with children, with everyone here. And at the same time, we can also rub minds together. I know this is like a webinar where someone is supposed to talk all through, but at the same time, I would appreciate if anyone can drop questions and if people can as well make contributions where necessary. Mirabel said it's supposed to last for like 15 minutes or so, but I'm not a fan of taking so much time to talk. I love going straight to the point. So if we finish in 30 minutes or 40 minutes, I'll hand over everything to Mirabel and then they would continue from there. So I personally do not like very long webinars because data is involved, because of this part of the country where we are in. And at the same time, people wouldn't want to sit for that long just listening to somebody cannot see physically. Ensure is interesting in the comment section. Let me see if we're all following through. Can I have a thumbs up in the comment section if we're all following through? Okay. Are we here? Or is everyone muted already?
We can hear you. We are here.
Oh,
we
good.
are following
Okay.
you.
Oh, cool. I see some people putting their thumbs up. Okay. Okay, so we're going to start immediately. Like I said before, my name is Chimdindu Ugwuanyi, and today we're going to be talking about the psychological impact of child sexual abuse on children. I know that there's been like 2 webinars already. This should be the 3rd one, right? And by now we should already understand what we're talking about, what child sexual abuse is about, and what causes it, or how it affects children, the physical effects it has on children. And today we're going to be talking about specifically the psychological impact of child sexual abuse. Briefly, I'm a medical doctor, currently a medical doctor, just graduated like a year ago, and going to start my internship very soon. But then I've been working with children for the past 7 years, and I've seen child sexual abuse on I wouldn't say every form, but in different forms. Let's start that way. And I'm sure that several things must have initiated our passion for this fight. And that's why I like the name of the organization, right? And the organization that is organizing this program. I'm very excited that there are people that have this intent to encourage and help children walk past this situation that is really, really, as simple as it is, it can damage a child's life totally because of the psychological impact it has on children, right? I'm sure we are following. So particularly, in fact, either you've had an experience as a girl or a boy, or you've had a sibling, or you've had a neighbor, or you've had a friend that has gone through child sexual abuse in one way or the other. Or maybe you've seen that are sexually abused, like in different ways. And then that in one way or the other may have initiated your passion for this, right? Normally, people would start by defining what's child sexual abuse, but in detail, I'll just explain the definition I have here. I would have loved to share my screen, but I'm using my phone instead of a laptop. It's difficult connecting that, but I would have loved if we can see the screen as well. But instead, I would just look at the screen myself, and then we can talk over here, right? So child sexual abuse, as we all already know, but I'm just going to go through it again to help us flow, is any sexual activity that a child does not comprehend and is not able to give consent to. Like, the child doesn't comprehend it, the child doesn't give consent to it, and the child, some people are like, oh, but the child didn't consent, but but then the child is like grown. No. At this point, the child is not developmentally prepared for it. the child didn't give you consent for it, and the child does not truly comprehend. Because some children you may look at them 15 years or 14 years and they look all mature, but then they don't even comprehend they don't comprehend what they are doing with that adult, right? And it also violates social taboos of the society or whatever laws that the society has placed regarding sex for that particular age group. We see that as child sexual abuse. And I'm sure that by now we understand that child sexual abuse usually is not always with adults. We also know that by now there are some kids that may have already been groomed by some adults, and you see them exhibiting some. Okay, someone said I can share my phone screen. The challenge is that the presentation is not on my phone. The presentation is on my laptop. So if I knew this early enough, I would have moved the presentation to my phone, and then it would be easy for me to share my screen that way, right? So I apologize for that. Yeah, so let's continue. So there are times that child sexual abuse could be within kids, either of a higher level, maybe a child that is a bit older than another child, can be the one that is getting another child involved in sexual activities for several reasons. Maybe what has been modeled to them by some adults, or maybe child sexually. We all know that every child, and this is what Speak Out Africa is all about. Initially, when we started, it was about helping prevent child sexual abuse. Our focus is usually prevention. But then preventing for what to happen, we expect that children they deserve a wholesome and happy childhood. If you are someone that may have had an experience with sexual abuse in any form, you know that you feel like something was taken away from your childhood, like it's not whole anymore, like it's supposed to be. Maybe you feel like there is something that didn't happen right. Why me? Like, why was I that child that thing happened to? You know that there were some parts of your life that it felt like it wasn't whole anymore. Something was taken away from you, right? But every child deserves to. So psychologically on children is huge. And we're going to be talking about that now. Now, the psychological effect is not just on the child, like during the childhood period. It goes all the way down to adulthood. And this is the reason you see some adults 30, 40, 50. They are still looking forward to speaking out or reminds me. Okay, thank you. As I'm talking, I'm also some things are coming to my mind and I would ask later. So don't mind if I stop to write sometimes. Okay, so that's why you see some adults at 40, at 50, they're still looking forward to sharing their experience. They want to have that closure. They want to talk about the experience they had as children, as 10-year-olds, as 9-year-olds, or at 8-year-olds, or whatever age where they had that experience. So the effect goes all the way down to adulthood, even till whenever they are old or whatever that is, right? But now we're going to walk through that psychological impact from when the person is a child down to when the person is an adult, right? Cool. So first of all, we totally understand that there are several things that cause this psychological impact to be huge. First of all, is we already know that child sexual abuse is usually happens with people that are very, very, let me not say very, very close, but close to the child. They are not extreme strangers. Statistics shows that people that sexually abuse children are 90% of people that are familiar with the child and 10% of strangers. So this familiarity we are talking about here could be uncles, it could be aunties, it could be the gate man or the house help that has been kept to school every day. Funny enough, it could be the child's parents. And we have this more when we have the situation of maybe a stepfather or a stepmother. But sometimes even with like real your biological parents, there are cases of sexual abuse in that way. And this is where the psychological damage starts from. The psychological damage starts from grooming because making a child, this is someone the child knows. So the child doesn't suspect anything. The child has been groomed for a long time without understanding what is actually happening. I believe we all know what grooming is, right? But if we don't, I guess we are muted. So I'll just explain what grooming is. So firstly, grooming is a way of training a child and preparing the person for whatever sexual activity that the person wants to present to the child. Grooming can be in different ways. We did, I think we have a video on that in Speak Out Africa of grooming, where grooming starts with, first of all, familiarizing with the child, trying to protect the child from, maybe you single the child out from other kids around and make the child feel special, give the child gifts, like make the child to want to care about you, different things. Then from there, you can start introducing gifts, you can start introducing touching the child and making the child feel comfortable. Oh, there is nothing wrong with this. It's just a touch. Oh, hug uncle or hug auntie. It's just a hug. Okay, sit on my, you just, make the child feel familiar with you. And this is why even when child's sexual abuse starts with children, they don't think it's harmful initially because this is someone that they love. This is someone they care about, or someone that seems to care about them that is doing this to them. So initially, they don't understand what is happening. You see some people that were sexually abused as children, they didn't know what it was called. They just knew something was not right. Maybe it was done in secrecy. But maybe when they grow older at 15, 16, 20 something, then they're like, oh, that thing that happened to me that time, it was actually sexual abuse. Why? They never get a name for it because they've been groomed into the activity and they either feel like it was nothing. This is common with guys. I have spoken to, we ran a research about 2 years ago, and a lot of guys that filled the questionnaire didn't understand they were sexually abused until we had a one-on-one interview with them. And they were like, oh, I thought I was enjoying it. I even had erections. Maybe I thought it was like I enjoyed. No, they didn't understand. They were lured into understanding and thinking that it was normal. So they felt like they were enjoying the process, but it's still what it is. Now, the first thing that usually happens is confusion. And the reason why a child is confused, you see, they're trying to understand exactly what has happened to their body or why things are not going on well, is because they can't understand that someone they love can hurt them or do something wrong to them. So that confusion is the first thing that sets in form of depression for someone that has been sexually abused. You're like, how can my parents do this to me? How can it be the auntie that is taking care of me? Why would she want to hurt me? What did I do wrong? What exactly happened? So you see them, they are confused. And then in the presentation, I put why. And the reason I put why is why the psychological impact. I put about 3 things. I should have made it 4, and confusion should be one of them. Confusion is the child this usually happens when the person is still small, trying to understand everything. What really happened to me? What exactly happened to me? Confusion, blame. The child begins to blame himself or herself. Why was I the person that was chosen? Why did it happen? Why did it happen to Neka? Why didn't it happen to Onyinye? Why was I the person that was chosen? Oh, maybe I was not good enough. Maybe I was that child that was maybe a nuisance. Maybe the person begins to have different thoughts and blame himself. That's the second thing that begins to happen. Now, when the child is blaming herself, the cycle continues. Next thing you begin to see is guilt. And something with guilt is, oh, what did I do wrong? Oh, you feel dirty. The person begins to feel dirty. Guilt happens internally. So the person begins to feel dirty. Oh, that means I'm messed up. Oh, that means I'm this. That means I'm not good enough. Oh, that means you see them, they shy away. This is also something else that leads to some difficulty, even in adults that have been sexually abused, having to have intimate relationship in future, because they still feel dirty. They still feel unworthy or like something is wrong with them because they still feel dirty and the guilt of the experience that they knew nothing about. An experience that wasn't their fault. Most ladies have this experience. Like most ladies are the ones that suffer this more than guys do. And then the guilt and everything happens. Then you can now start talking about shame. Now, shame is when an external body is involved. It feels like, oh, you don't want anybody to know this thing that has happened to you. Or maybe, so they keep it to themselves. So they keep going through this cycle of confusion, blame, guilt, and shame. And this is the cycle that keeps building up every other thing that happens to them. Confusion, blame, guilt, shame. So confusion, blame, guilt, and shame are the things that pack up other things that come out, the depression, the PTSD, everything. Every other thing that comes from confusion, the guilt, and shame that they experience. Are we following? Okay, so I want to know if you're following. If you're following, just say yes, you're following. I want to know what's happening in the comment section.
Yes, we are following you.
Okay, cool, good. So it's not be like I'm talking to myself, right? Okay, good.
Sorry, please, can you give me a minute? All right, so
okay.
Please let's get our questions ready because there'll be a Q&A session immediately after our guest speaker is done.
Okay, good. I would really, really appreciate that. That's what makes teaching interesting. The Q&A section. It doesn't even have to be a question. It can be something. I don't just want questions. I want your own contribution or experience or story or something you have seen somewhere that can help us understand better. Whatever that is going to be, I would really, really appreciate that. Or maybe something that you just understood or something that was just enlightening for you or something you've learned. We're going to share that. So that's why I'm not going to take so much time. This is something you can read up, but coming together as adults to build this thing helps us interact and helps us think of strategies on how we can protect kids around us. So trust me, your contribution is very, very, very important. Yeah, because we are all learning, right? Okay, so now that's the confusion and the cycle I just talked about, confusion, blame, and guilt. Now, what does confusion, blame, and guilt do to that child? Okay, come on, computer, what's going on? Okay. I think my computer is trying to act up, but that's okay. I think I still remember what the slides are about. Okay, so the cycle of shame is going on, and talk about the thing that happens internally. We cannot remove whatever is happening upstairs will definitely show physically, and the child trying to no longer stay different from other kids. You see them, a child begins to they are no longer conscious of themselves. You see them, they bedwet a lot. I remember this particular experience. I'm going to share this story with us, right? There was this mom that I think it was I work with Sunday school kids as well. So the woman was complaining that, oh, the child, I don't know if we are Igbos here, but I'm going to say it in Igbo, then I'll translate. Either the child is now possessed. I think that was what the mom was saying. And things like that. She was trying to say that the child wasn't bedwetting before, but all of a sudden the child is beginning to bedwet. Is trying to act dull, is misbehaving and all that, not playing with other kids, wants to be on his own. Immediately the mom was saying that I knew it was beyond what exactly was happening. And I just allowed that. She wasn't complaining to me. She was obviously complaining to another teacher in Sunday school. And I was just listening. And immediately she was done. I said, no problem. I didn't even intervene or get involved in their conversation. So I just called the child, and then we started interacting. I'm like, okay, so what's up? I think it wasn't the child's mom. It was the woman the child was living with. She wasn't staying with her mom. She was staying with. her auntie, either her mom's sister or so. And then I started asking her, so what's your relationship with the person you're living with? What's going on and everything. And it was that the brother-in-law of the woman, that's her husband's brother, was sexually abusing the child. And she felt so confused. She didn't know what to do. She couldn't tell her auntie because she wasn't in a perfect relationship with her. She wasn't treating her so nice. So she didn't even have the boldness to even share anything with the woman. And she felt there's no way she would have said anything. So it was just showing, she was just having behavioral changes, and then several things were happening to her, right? That particular case, from the conversation we had, that was when I discovered that what was actually happening to the child was that she was being sexually abused, right? Are we following? I'm trying to.
Yes, we are. We are following.
Cool. I'm trying to sort out the computer issue, but it's still taking a lot of time. That's okay. So you see several behavioral changes like the one I mentioned, the child bedwetting, being absent-minded in class. The child could become aggressive, or you actually notice that they are unnecessarily fearful and anxious. For instance, someone comes into the room and the way they react, or when you call their name, it seems like there's this slight absent-mindedness that the child is having, is because of the psychological impacts that they are having. And the psychological impact and then the physical signs that are showing from the experience they've had so far. So all these are some of the things that you're going to notice physically in that child, and many more. There are many other things that you can notice physically. And exactly, I wanted to say this. There are no particular signs to know that this child is sexually abused. What do I mean by that? For instance, in psychology of children, there is no, but for instance, this child is being sexually abused. Oh, because this child is bedwetting, oh, she must be sexually abused. Oh, because this child is being anxious or anything, it must be sexual abuse. There is no static sign to show that this is exactly the experience this child is having. So that's why conversation is very important in trying to understand what a child is going through. So don't make assumptions. It could be that the child is just being bullied in school. It could be that the child is having other things that are affecting the child mentally that is showing all these signs. And some signs can be more aggressive with some kids, and some children can display little or no signs. You see them still being jovial, you see them still doing their normal thing, but actually something has gone wrong somewhere. Are we getting it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so like I said before, give me a minute so that I can understand where my slide is at the moment.
Okay. All right. So basically, I mean, we're learning so much. I'm learning so much personally, and I believe that everybody on this call is doing the same. So, I mean, while we wait for your system to come up, something that really got to me is the fact that every child will not display the same signs or the same things that point your attention to the fact that this is what's going on with them. Just the way our fingers are different, people should exhibit different signs, they go through the pain differently.
Hello?
Have you been able to fix it? Yes, we are with you.
Oh, no, okay. Oh, you can so much. Mirabel. Oh, thank you. Mm, okay. Oh, cool. Can you guys still see me?
No.
Oh, you can't see me, right?
Yes,
Let
we
me see if you
can't.
can see my screen. But you can hear me, right?
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, good. Let me see if it's possible to share the screen. I don't know. Yeah. I don't think that's very possible. They're saying different things. iPhone
When you
can be
click on,
crazy
have
sometimes.
you clicked on the share button? The
Yes, I have.
it brings out
Yes.
the
Okay.
Microsoft Google Drive box photo. You would see screen. Just scroll up on that list. You see share
Okay.
whiteboard bookmark. Then you see screen. Have you seen it?
Okay. Let me try. But then they said I have to upload to an iCloud. So okay. I think it was going to work now. Frame load interrupted. I don't know what that means. Let's try it again. Whew. Okay, so it keeps interrupting. I don't know. Can you see any plain screen or anything?
You said?
Hello?
We can hear you. Hello, we can hear you.
Can you see my screen?
Yes, we can. We can see your screen. I believe we can all see the screen. Sorry for the
What can
break.
you see?
A white plain screen.
Yeah, that's the challenge, right? So instead of the presentation to show, it's just showing a white screen.
Oh, is it showing? Is it a document? Is the presentation a document on your phone, or it's open on your phone and you're looking at it?
No, I had to upload it on iCloud first.
Okay. Okay.
So, and to have it there, it's, you know what? Okay. I'm just going to do this. I'm going to interchange.
Another
I'm
way.
trying to share it, but okay, tell me.
Okay, another thing you
Yeah,
can
another way I
do
can do that.
is yes, rather than open you can open the presentation, then probably screenshot one or two pages, or maybe the you understand what I'm saying? You
Okay.
could make a screenshot of,
Yeah.
then come to share screen. I mean, come to share. You would see gallery. You would see you see screen. You can then go to your gallery where the screenshot is. Just click on that picture, then come
This
back.
works.
Do you
Yeah.
understand what I'm
Let me
saying?
try. Yes, I
Come
do.
back to Zoom and share that screen. So you will just be swiping it as if you are looking at your pictures. That's what we would
Oh, makes
see.
sense. Makes sense. Can you see my screen?
Not yet. We can see your face.
Oh, I like this. Okay. Let's see how this can work.
We're really sorry, everyone on the call. Sorry for the technical issues.
Please, sorry, everyone. Okay. Oh, good. How to show. Okay. Can you see my screen now?
Yes, please.
Good. Thank you. Thank you so much for that help. Peace. Okay, so yeah, we're just going to shoot. And then I will just randomly talk about some other things that I couldn't remember while I was talking. Absent-mindedness. I think we talked about this already. Behavioral changes. There are several behavioral changes I've seen. Sometimes the child could be aggressive. Sometimes the child could be calm. Sometimes the child is wanting to be on their own and all that. We talked about bedwetting already. And there's this unusual quietness as well. And nightmares. And unusual phobias too could arise. I'm trying to remember a particular story, but okay, let's move on. And then you see depression and then post-traumatic stress disorder. This one is a very, very common depression and post-traumatic stress disorder. I'm sure most of us know what that is already. And you see so many adults still going through PTSD from the experience that they've had as kids. You see, for instance, whenever there is a story, I'm sure you guys have noticed that on social media, whenever maybe there is this outpost or maybe an experience that is shared that goes a lot of people begin to talk about their own experience. It looks like there is this outburst of sexual abuse everywhere,
Yeah.
because everybody's led to speak out or share their experiences and all that. Is actually PTSD. What they don't understand is that someone's experience is usually a trigger for other people. So by the time one person shares an experience, or maybe it goes viral that someone had an experience or a child was sexually abused, a lot of people begin to speak out. It's actually PTSD that they are going through, because it's a trigger to their experience. Oh, they remember that this happened to them. Oh, it's an opportunity for them to speak out. It could be positive, and sometimes it may not be what they need at the moment, right? And we're going to get to that. Also, some other futuristic impacts. You see children, adults, or even children begin to have eating disorders. Some of them go through drugs and alcohol, self-mutilation. You see them getting into different kind of self-abuse, like someone is sexually promiscuous as a result of the impact of sexual abuse that they had before. There are several signs. You can name and mention so many of them. Like I said before, there are no particular, these are just the usual ones that we can see when people like share their experiences and stuff like that. But it's not like these are very particular, or these are the only things that people experience when they have this. I'm trying to be conscious of my time. Okay, right? And you see suicide as well. I think there is this child, I don't know if it's this child that has been suicidal for the past 4 years. She's just 13. Yeah, she's just 13, and she's been suicidal till when she was 13 till when she was 17. And that was as a result of being sexually abused by her uncle that she loved so much. She didn't understand what was happening until she was 13, and everything, they found out how everything happened. And it took a whole lot to get her back. For 4 years, she was in therapy for 4 years, and it wasn't really very pleasant for her. She missed out a lot in her teenage age just to get back to order, right? Okay, so I don't know if there are other impacts, psychological impacts that anybody wants to share. We can talk about it before we go about the help. So let me see what's going through in the comment section. Can I hear some other psychological impacts that anybody has noticed or seen from different people? We can talk about it, then we can move on to help. Yeah, I'm looking forward to anybody sharing any. Are we there? Are we together?
Yes, we are with you.
Okay, so is there anybody that wants to share any contributions? I want to know, is there anybody that has noticed any other kind of psychological impact that people have when they're sexually abused?
Sometimes I feel it also affects them in their academics, because
Exactly.
they begin to think a lot, and they get distracted. They are not able to focus,
Yeah.
not just academics. I'm talking of academics for the child, okay, because we're focused on
Yes.
children here, but even as they tend to become adults, right? They don't maximize their potential. You see them living, I mean, they are not at their best. Even as adults, if they've not thoroughly dealt with it, they are not doing optimally. Probably they could be delivering at 90%. You see them delivering at 60%. That's one thing I've also noticed.
Yeah. This piece, right? This is very huge. Very, very huge. And very huge because for most absent parents, this is the first thing that is noticed. What I mean by most absent parents that are not very used to details, like noticing what happens at home with their children. The first person that ever notices that something is wrong with this child is usually their teachers in class. Oh, the child is beginning to sleep. He doesn't write the tests he's doing. He's dull. He's not a child that was doing very well in class, maybe probably first position, is now third position, or is now fourth or 10th position, things like that. Most absent parents it's usually the teachers in school that notice that something could be wrong with this child, and then they start tracing it, which is very rare in this country. But yeah, apparently it's the teacher that notices that something is wrong with this child, and then there's something that could be done about it. So thank you so much for that contribution. It's very, very, very huge. Even as adults, there are so many people that there was this girl, she was doing very well. Actually, she didn't have any challenge until I think there was a trigger. I don't know if you've heard of everybody heard of Chimwanya, the girl that died, right? I think it was somewhere in the east. Anybody heard of that story?
No.
There was this story of a girl that went viral. She was raped by the woman she was the husband of the woman she was living with. I think she was 11 or so, and she had multiple tears. So that it was through the tears when she was in the hospital that they actually found out that somebody was sexually abusing her, and it was the man she was living with. But the girl died after she lost a lot of blood, and she had lots of infection as well. So she died. I think it was during that experience that I wouldn't call her a friend, but someone around, she was triggered, and it was a huge trigger. A trigger that started disturbing her psychologically, academically, and everybody could see her going out. She needed to be attended, like she needed help urgently. If not, it was going to mess her up in med school. This was huge. And this is why help is very important. I don't know if anybody wants to share any other psychological impact, or we should just move straight to help. Okay, I think we'll move straight to help then. And this is why, are we there? Are we here?
Yes. 100.
Okay, and this is why help is very, very important. Now, I want to say two things about help. Two things I want to say about help is help for the child is what is most important if there is a case of child sexual abuse. I'm going to repeat this because it's a mistake I see in several organizations, and I see it with different people. Justice is not the first thing you're supposed to fight for. The first thing that you're supposed to fight for is to help the child. Justice is the second thing or secondary thing to do. The child is the main victim here, and the child is the person that should be helped. I don't know if we get that. Now, when I see cases of child sexual abuse, a lot of focus is on the person that did the crime. Everybody is trying to get him in jail or punish him, that they forget the child that has been victimized here and forget that this child needs help. They are trying to stop the person, but the damage has been done. Nobody's trying to help the child. And that's why we have lots of damaged, psychologically damaged people that are moving around. Because everybody's trying to fight the crime or trying to focus on justice, and nobody's actually focusing on helping that child. And this is why I'm trying to repeat it again. The first person that needs help is the child. And that's the person that all the attention should be given to in the right way, right? Okay, I believe we get that. And then the second thing I want to say before we talk about help in detail is that every age, there is no time that it passes. Any help can come at any point. If a child was sexually abused and nothing was done about it, in 20 years, if that is when it is necessary to get help, he has not outgrown it, he will still need help. If it's at 30 years, they will still need help. If it's at 50 years that they realize what has happened to them, they will still need help. The only thing a person will do is that they can bury the wound. And it's not everybody that can manage that wound for the rest of their lives. That's why you see people that 50, they're looking for closure for an experience they had when they were 10. So any point that it is necessary, let the person get the help they need. But it's very important, if it happened that as a child, let the person get all the necessary help that they need. Most importantly, the help is usually whoever found out whatever is happening at all, the parent, your teacher, or the person's auntie or a sibling. Most importantly, whenever a person finds out or a child reports sexual abuse to you, the first thing we usually say is no judgment. Even for adults, you listen. Most times, I think it's a little different for adults because it's a case of an accusation. Like, what I mean by adults, for example, is someone is above 18 and is reporting rape to you. The way you would react to the person is not the way you would react to a child that is reporting that kind of crime to you. They are totally different. But since our focus here is children, we're going to focus on children. So most importantly, no judgment. You don't judge the child because you're going to just put the person away. Secondly, is give the person a listening ear, asking open-ended questions to enable the person explain himself. Don't put words into the child's mouth. Allow the person to explain the experience they had. You can ask, oh, when did it happen? What happened? How did it happen? So give the person an opportunity to express themselves and be patient with listening to them while they express themselves. No judgment. Don't try to accuse or make assumptions. Let the person explain to you what he or she can remember. And if the person has had enough at that moment, let the person be and let the child continue explaining whenever they've come or they are calm and they are okay to share whatever experience that they want. Okay, I got a note. Okay, thank you very much. Peace. And again, I also want to ask that it's very good to see a specialist, a therapist, and a psychologist. Why? Because the healing process for every person is different. And because kids are different, don't try to use how you solved A's problem to solve B's problem. We've seen over how many children, and the same way we handled this child was not the same way we handled the other child. So don't think that the same way you handled Neka is the same way you handled Obina, or the same way you handled Nelson is the same way you handle Obina. Try to get the person to a therapist if you can, and let them sit with the child, talk with the child, and know how to help the child. Now, the last thing I'm going to talk about in help is about speaking out. Speaking out is beautiful, but at the same time, let the person share their experience when they are ready to. Do we understand that?
Yeah.
What I mean by that is, we've seen, this is not more with children. I think this is more with teens or adults that speak out, and that was the beginning of their troubles. First of all, your speaking out is not to get the attention of people or create a pity party. Your speaking out is for your personal healing. And this is why it's very good to get a specialist or therapist, so that you understand that stage of healing you are in that needs speaking out. Because the moment you speak out, you've made your vulnerability is very beautiful. I'm one person that teaches on vulnerability every day. But you have to you ensure that you're being vulnerable to the right people. Because the moment you do a public speak out, it's an invitation of anybody's opinion into what you've experienced. So if you've not gotten to that stage of healing, it could do more damage than good. I've seen a lot of people speak out, and that was where their depression and suicidal thoughts started from. Because they had not gotten to that point of healing where they have conquered the blame and the shame that they had. Maybe they feel like, oh, I've gotten clarity. They've dealt with confusion, right? They've dealt with the confusion of the experience they had, but they still had blame and shame and guilt to deal with. And then that point they speak. The moment they do that without getting to that stage of healing, that's the beginning of another cycle of psychological damage in their mind. So ensure that whatever stage of healing you are dealing with psychologically, you have help. You have help. And I know that in this country, it's not very easy to get access to a therapist or a psychologist. But even if it's a friend, there are so many helps now in healing. There are different groups that help people heal, or maybe even activities that you can find online that can help you go through a traumatic experience like that. So ensure you have help from anywhere. It could be through a friend, it could be through a spiritual leader, or anybody at all that you respect or you feel is good enough to help you. But ensure you are in that stage of healing where you would want to speak out, especially to the people. And speaking out doesn't have to be you come to announce it. Speaking out can be to someone you confide in. You can confide in someone you trust, someone you whatever the thing is, right? So I think that's the last thing I'm going to talk about in help. And if there is any other thing I remember while we have our interaction, I'm going to talk about it, right? So that will be the end of our presentation for today. Thank you very much. Yeah.
Wow. Wow. Thank you so much. I mean, I gained a lot, and it was really impactful. I believe everybody that is on this call also learned a thing or two. And thank you very much, Dr. Peace. We're so glad to have you here. First of all, you talked about grooming the child, how that they they bring the child close, they make you feel so comfortable that you hardly even feel like anything is wrong by the time they start making advances, because they've you feel like, wow, these people are like angels here on earth. Do you
God.
understand? And I mean, it's important for people to know these processes, because when you know the way a thing comes about, it helps you to prevent it basically. And you took us through the psychological effects, the physical effects, very remarkable psychological impacts that you told us is the confusion, the blame game, guilt, and shame. So basically, I'll say is CBGS. I don't know. I like to use acronyms a lot.
Oh,
So I'll
I
say
like that. I like that. I like that. I like
CBGS,
that.
you know. So
CBGS.
I
Okay.
believe everybody on this group call learned a thing or two. We are going into the question, answers, and contribution section right away. I'm just trying to, wet the ground so that everybody that has something to say can prepare it. Anybody with questions, this is how we'll go about it. If you have a question or a contribution, kindly raise your hand up. I would see it here, and then I'll call you to unmute yourself, and then you can go ahead with your question. You also talked about, so while that is going on, you talked about the physical effects as well, how that children become fearful, and a couple of other things. And very remarkable, you said that it's not justice that is most important, yeah, is helping that child, because that's the essence of even one. I mean, there would be no case if the child didn't speak up. So it's not about wanting, and I feel that's a very big problem, especially in Nigeria. Everybody wants to put their nose, everybody wants to say something, everybody wants to do something. But as much as that's important, we should lend our voice for justice to be served. Much more is important that the person that actually went through that thing is back to normal, even
Yeah.
if not 100% back to normal, at least near back to normal, such that the person feels whole again. The person feels like he or she, well, mostly she, as from statistics, but he or she can, live a normal life again. Do you understand what I'm saying? So help for the child is much more important than justice. Justice is good, but justice is secondary. Anybody from the Thank you so much, Dr. Peace. We
You're welcome.
really
Thank
appreciate
you.
you. We appreciate you so much. Okay, anybody has a contribution to make? I can't see anybody's hand up. Let me check the participants. Mirabel, any contribution? Brian, Famous, Mary, Onyebuchi, Stanley, Joseph, any contribution? Okay, so in the absence of any contribution or any question, I have a question, right?
Okay.
And I'll
Yeah.
just ask it quickly before we round up. Now, in the case of not everybody has access to organizations that, well established organizations that like this, that they have they know what to do basically. For instance, okay, I'm hearing somebody in the background. Is anybody asking any question? Coming. Okay. So for instance, somebody, you are not part of an organization, you are not, you've not even attended any webinar that helps to open up your mind, right? And somebody comes to you to report a case of child abuse to you. The children, they may not even come, they may not even know it's child abuse. They may just probably narrate a story that, "Ah, auntie, this was happening. There's this person that did this, or uncle, this was happening." What do you do? Say you don't even have access to anybody that can fight for you guys or something like that. Do you understand what I'm trying to say? It's just you
Yes.
just a small, maybe my neighbor, one of my neighbors just runs to me and it's like, "Ah, Auntie Peace, so this thing I noticed that," and say I'm not even part of fight it, right? What do I do? How can I help that person? Basically, maybe even the person that abused him or her is way older than me. I see the person every day in the compound. What do I do? How do I go about it?
Okay. Thank you so much, Peace, for that question. Very, very relatable. And the reason I said it's very relatable is that it happens every day. So
Mhm.
you get to either hear it and you or rather you'll be like in your compound, you hear, this man used to touch this girl. Oh." Everybody would just laugh about, this small child or something. Everybody would laugh about it. And or
Mhm.
it will just pass. Or a woman will just run to somebody to say, this man was doing this, and everybody will be like, protect your child, don't allow this person, and it just passes like that. Sometimes the
Mhm.
cycle continues, but I wish that everybody is going to have the passion and personal responsibility to understand exactly what happens to a child and how to protect the child. This is the reason we are teaching adults every day about this, the impact it has, and why it is very important for everybody to take personal responsibility. Most of the time, if it's not your own, you wouldn't want to do anything about it. And this is a
Mhm.
habit everybody has. People are
Mhm.
naturally selfish, but
Mhm.
it falls back to personal responsibility. After we've had this webinar, what are you going to do? I'm not saying you don't have to start an organization. You don't have to start an organization to help a child. We are about to start a curriculum. We are trying to work on a curriculum. Maybe I'll talk to Mirabelle about it. We can partner to do that, because we are working on a curriculum currently in our organization, and the curriculum is to help everybody know something about child sexual abuse. Everybody. You don't have to be a teacher. You don't have to own an organization. You just have to be a human being for you to go through that curriculum, right?
How do people have
And
access?
what's the aim? The aim, so that a person can have access to it. For instance, it could be put in a small animated video, a lesson of how to react when a child reports child sexual abuse. If you have something like that, the way they share videos on WhatsApp, any commoner in a compound that finds out that a child is being sexually abused would know the first thing to do,
Hmm.
right? The truth is, it boils down to personal responsibility. If you don't take it personal because you understand what this can do, everybody will just let it be. The truth is, how are you supposed to react? Going back to your question, how are you supposed to react if a woman gives you that kind of thing? Now, this is the ideal thing to do. Most importantly, the child. Have a conversation. Sit. Try to make the child feel calm, welcome. So tell me what happened. Whenever you're able to get the child to share the experience. Now, do you think you can deal with it, like help the child get the therapy the person needs? If you're not fit to help the child mentally to get the kind of therapy they need, look for how to get help.
Mhm.
Do the little you can. I'm not saying you won't. I'm just trying to be very practical here, because
Mhm.
it's not everything. Maybe the person's child is a community where the person doesn't have money. You can't
Mhm.
pay therapists. So what can you do? Try at least, I feel like everybody should have a little therapeutic one or two you can find online to do to help the child, right? So what can you do at that point? Then secondly, I don't know now, because anybody that is a perpetrator, there is a tendency that child is not the only person they are sexually abusing. There is a statistics that shows that if a perpetrator lives in an environment, at least not less than 15 people, let me not just say kids, he's trying to touch at least 10 to 15 kids around may have had an experience from that one person. So that's also why justice is important. I'm not saying justice is not totally important. It's very important, because if you're able to take one abuser away, you've protected like 10 or 20 children around that area. So after you've tried to get help for the child, now we can now try to get the man that has been doing this away by either reporting him to the police. The Nigerian police has stepped up their game when it has to do with sexual abuse, even though I know it's not everywhere, I will not lie. This is the reason why we still use organizations that are very specialized in this, because they have special armed policemen that have been trained to do that. But as much as you can, try to get help.
All right.
Try to get help for the child and everyone around.
Thank you, Dr.
Yeah,
P.
I don't know if that answered the question.
Yes, it did. Basically, personal responsibility.
Yeah.
Be empathetic. Have human sympathy. I can see somebody raising up his or her hand, but before you would have just 1 minute. But before then, okay, you joined late. Okay, oh, I thought I did a summary already. But all right, there are some links in the chat section. If you'd love to be a volunteer for Fight It Initiative, please check the chat section. There's a link for you to fill. Also, like I said at the beginning of this call, there's a feedback form that we're supposed to fill. Please, I'll crave your indulgence to please kindly help us fill that form, so that we really, really need your response. And we are on all social media platforms. We're on Instagram, we're on YouTube. I don't know if you're on Twitter, Mirabella, we're on Twitter, but please follow us on all social media handles. Also, the recording of today's webinar will be available on our YouTube handle later in the day. Please do well to watch it. And if you missed the last two webinars, please do well to also watch those webinar sessions as well. We would be glad to have you. So Dr. Peace, we have some questions, and we are already almost running late, so we just have about 2 or 3 minutes thereabout. Dr. Peace, I would read all the questions together, so you just give a short answer in 1 or 2 minutes addressing the question. So the first question, the first person says she joined in late. Okay, so basically in today's meeting, we just spoke about, I already did a recap, but I'll just do another recap in 30 minutes. We spoke about some of the psychological effects of, child sexual abuse. We spoke, and that was where, I don't know if you heard when I was talking about the acronym that I said CBGS, that's confusion, the person blames him or herself. Talked about guilt and shame, and the shame is external, guilt comes from within. Shame is something that people begin to point hands and look at this person. We also talked about some of the physical effects, being fearful, and she spoke about how to help the child. Don't be judgmental, be willing to listen to the child. All right, but you can also watch the recap of this webinar on YouTube. It will be available later in the day. So the first question is, please, doctor, what advice do you have for the parents in order to curb the incessant occurrence of child abuse? Because I believe relationship between a child and parents have contributed to such loopholes even in the healing process. I think doctor mentioned something like that during the presentation. Okay, so doctor, how do you suggest that child-parent relationship can help or prevent child sexual abuse?
Child-parent relationship definitely is the major work in preventing child sexual abuse everywhere. And okay, first of all, I'm going to say this. I'm very excited at the new generation parents that we are having, because that paying more attention to detail and ensuring that their kids are well taken care of. Not all, but some. But for parents that are like parents in their own generation, I think there was this gap between lots of kids and parents. Not everybody, but I'm just saying majorly. So parents and the relationship between a child and the parents is very, very important. Why? Like I said before, child sexual abuse does not ever happen. It's a process. It's rare. I'm not saying it doesn't just happen, because it's rare that you just said, a man met a child for the first time and sexually abused the child. No, it's very, very rare. A grooming process would have happened. And if it's a parent that has a good relationship with their child, would know when their child is being groomed. You would know when like, I've literally seen a child being groomed. I'm not the person's parent, but I'm a teacher, and I'm observing that, in this environment, there is this person that is paying special attention to this child. There is this person that is being unnecessarily nice to this. You're not the child's auntie, you're not the child's anything. You're just picking a child out of everywhere, and you're being really nice to this child. There is a problem somewhere. And I told the child's parents, see, watch this person with your child. There is a problem. Now, because we want something to happen, madam, and nice to you. Somebody will not just be nice to your child. Why are you acting up already? Don't allow anybody to be nice to your child. The world is not, we are not here for games. Like, I'm not saying, you understand what I mean when I mean don't allow anybody to be nice to your child. That's why every parent should understand what this whole grooming thing can be. So that when you see signs of grooming, you protect your child. So grooming is a process. Sexual abuse doesn't just happen. Most times it doesn't just happen. So if you're noticing that, there is this particular person, have interactions with your child. Don't leave your child to a caretaker alone. Ask your child questions. And I don't know if you guys know about the pant rule. There are things I would have just stretched out to where I pack my books here to show you guys something. There is a book that I got recently from Amazon, how to talk to your kids about sex, how to have interactions with your kids about sex. Don't leave those important teachings to your house helps, your helps. No. I say this, raising a child, peace, I'm going to take a little time to pay attention to this, because this is where everything lies. And I'm saying this because we are young people and we're going to have kids in future.
Mm-hmm.
Pay attention. You are the first school your child is going to go to. As I'm leaving already, I pay attention. I'm currently writing the things that I want to teach my child, because I'm going to create curriculum that you're going to use in teaching your child these things. What does that mean? When have you taught? Many parents never taught their kids about their body. Like, literally say, this is today, maybe in the bathroom. It doesn't have to be bring a board and a marker. It could be when you're bathing the child. You teach the person about the person's body. It could be that opportunity to teach the person the pant rule. Private, the pant rule, private parts are private. A, N, no means no. I think A means I'm forgetting what A means in the pant rule. But different things. T means tell when you feel uncomfortable. And all these things, the pant rule is a common rule in teaching children about themselves and how to protect themselves from. These things are lessons a child needs. So with this, if you teach your child these little things, if your child is being groomed, he will tell you. He will definitely tell you. Mommy, what happened in school today? He will openly just like, mommy, do you know someone just touched my body? Like, randomly, because of the kind of conversation you have with the child already. Or if you've taught yourself in your child that there should be, because in the pantry, there is also there is no secrets. The S means no secrets. So now, if someone tells your child, there's a secret, mommy, remember that thing you told me? Someone told me we are supposed to have a secret today. And the child tells you, because in a very non-judgmental and open conversation, you've had those discussions prior with your child, so your child is properly guarded. So it's very parent and child relationship. That's the key to fighting sexual abuse. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Because of time. Oh, Mirabel, thank you. Mirabel just dropped the meaning of pantry.
Exactly.
They are behind schedule already, but I can see Famous is still raising up his hand. Onyedikachi, I believe your question was answered. If you need any more clarifications, you can always reach out to Dr. Peace, I believe. But
sorry. Okay, sorry, Peace. I would really love to connect with everyone. So feel free. Instagram, that's my name, Chimdindu Ugwuanyi Peace. Facebook, Chimdindu Ugwuanyi Peace. Twitter, Chimdindu Ugwuanyi Peace. You can.
All right, awesome. Thank you. Please, could you help us type it in the chat section so that?
Okay, sure.
All right. So Famous, please ask your question in 30 seconds, and I'll give Dr. Peace 1 minute to answer the question.
Problem.
So we can today's session.
Okay, fine. It's not a question actually, just a contribution. So I quickly go ahead with it. Thank you so much, Dr. Peace, for the insightful session. I'd like to share a personal experience. You see, as a peer mentor for the past 4 months, you made mention of conversation. So having been on the field, having gone to schools, having been to churches, communities, engaging young people, I realized that the link missing out there is conversation. Parents these days don't really converse with their children, leaving them vulnerable to people who need not to give them information that they really deserve from their parents. So I think conversation is a key thing. And I really added a lot of knowledge from this session so far. Thank you to the fighting team and everybody. Bye bye. That's all that I have to say.
Wow, thank you so much, Famous. That's very true. Conversation, very key. Wow, thank you so much for coming to today's today's webinar. I really want to appreciate every single person on this call. If you're on this call, thank you. If you waited till this point, it means something. Thank you so much. Please and please do well to connect with us on all social media platforms. I especially want to thank the organizers of this initiative, the team lead, Mirabel Uwokolo, Dr. Mira, like I always call her. Thank you so much for bringing together an initiative like this. I also want to specially thank our guest, Dr. Peace. It was really nice hearing from you. I learned a lot, and like you said, you even said you're already preparing a curriculum for your children. And in my mind, I'm like, awesome. I mean, wow, that's a call to action for so many people. Thank you so much. We appreciate you, and we'll connect with you by the grace of God on your social media platforms. Thank you so much for coming. I don't know if Mirabel has anything to say, but if she doesn't, we'll be ending the meeting now. Mirabel, please, 1 minute.
Good afternoon. Please, can you hear me?
Yes,
we can.
I don't really have anything to say. Peace and the two pieces. Excuse me. Peace and the other piece has already done, and Dr. Peace has already done justice to the whole topic. And I just want to just showcase my gratitude to everyone that was able to make it. I know it has been a long ride. It has been from like 4 weeks ago. We started this webinar series. We've had two other previous webinar series before this one, and we still have one more that would hold on 2nd of January 2021. That one will be on the physical and social rehabilitation of children, of victimized children, sexually victimized children. So I want to enjoin everyone that is here now to also try to make ourselves available on that day as well, because there'll be many things to learn. So I'm just thankful, and I'm happy also that we could make ourselves available to understand these points that has been made by Dr. Chimdindu, and also we should pass on the knowledge that we've gained. It's important to pass on the knowledge that we've gained to people that are not able to be here as well to receive this knowledge. That's all. Thank you. Thank you, Peace, for anchoring. You did a wonderful job. And thank you also to our guest speaker and to everyone that has made this this day possible. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you
you,
so much,
everyone.
Dr. Thank you, Dr. Peace. Please don't forget to fill in the feedback forms. See you by the grace of God, January 2nd. Thank you for coming.